The first time I suspected something was off, it was the perfume. Miranda always wore something light and floral, like lavender or jasmine, but this scent was bold, spicy, and not hers. It clung to her like a guilty shadow when she came home late from book club, a club I had never known her to mention before. She brushed it off, smiling that disarming smile that had once made me believe in forever. "Oh, Cheryl brought samples from some high-end brand," she said, waving a hand dismissively. "She's obsessed with luxury perfumes now." Something about the way she avoided my eyes told me she was lying, but I pushed the thought away. I'd been married to Miranda for 10 years. Surely she wouldn't. Then came the hushed phone calls and the sudden need to put a password on her phone. I'm not a paranoid man, but when her laughter became less familiar, lighter, flirtier, I couldn't ignore the gnawing in my gut. I'm an accountant, methodical by nature, so I started keeping track. Dates, times, excuses. One night, curiosity and desperation got the better of me. While she was in the shower, I unlocked her laptop. It took less than 5 minutes to find what I was looking for. A trail of messages to someone named Damon, littered with winking emojis and inside jokes I didn't understand. My heart sank further with every line I read. I confronted her that night. She didn't deny it. Instead, she called it meaningless. "Elliot, it's nothing," she said, her tone almost condescending. "I've been feeling unappreciated, and Damon was just there. It's not serious. I love you." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Love me? Did love involve late-night hotel rendezvous and whispered confessions to another man? I moved into the guest room that night. In the days that followed, she acted as though we'd had a minor argument, one easily swept under the rug. But I couldn't let it go. I'd given her everything. My trust, my support, the best years of my life. And she had thrown it all away. I started digging deeper. It wasn't just the messages. I found receipts for expensive dinners I hadn't attended, charges to hotels I'd never heard of, and gifts I'd never received. The more I uncovered, the angrier I became. But I didn't explode. No, I stayed calm. Quiet, I was planning. The court summons was the linchpin of my revenge. She had no idea I'd filed for divorce. I'd been meticulous, documenting everything. The dates, the charges, the texts. The lawyer I hired said my case was one of the most airtight she'd ever seen. But I wasn't content with just ending the marriage. Miranda needed to understand the depth of her betrayal and the consequences of her actions. The day the papers arrived, I left them on the counter where she couldn't miss them. She came home from another work meeting to find me sitting at the kitchen table, sipping coffee and scrolling through my phone. "What's this?" she asked, holding up the envelope. I shrugged. "Open it." Her face paled as she read, "You're divorcing me?" "Yes," I said evenly, "and I'm suing for adultery. All the evidence is in there." She tried to argue, her voice rising in panic. "Elliot, you don't understand. It didn't mean anything. I was going through something, and Damon was just a distraction. A distraction that cost thousands of dollars and destroyed our marriage," I said, my voice cold. "You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught." She broke down crying and pleading, but I'd made up my mind. I moved forward with the divorce. She fought me at every step, but the evidence was overwhelming. In the end, the court ruled in my favor. I got the house, the car, and a significant portion of our shared assets. She was left with her distraction and the wreckage of her reputation. But my revenge didn't end there. Miranda worked as a marketing executive at a prestigious firm. Her image was everything. So I sent an anonymous tip to their HR department, complete with screenshots of her affair. They'd built their brand around integrity and family values, and Miranda's actions were a direct violation of their code of conduct. She was fired within a week. Word spread quickly through our social circles. Friends who once admired her now avoided her. Damon, it turned out, wasn't interested in a serious relationship. He ghosted her shortly after the divorce was finalized. Meanwhile, I focused on rebuilding my life. I started therapy, hit the gym, and reconnected with old friends. It wasn't easy, but with every step forward, the weight of her betrayal lessened. One day, months after the divorce, I ran into her at the grocery store. She looked tired, older somehow. She tried to strike up a conversation, but I cut her off. Miranda, I hope you find what you're looking for, I said. But I've moved on. Goodbye. Walking away from her was the most satisfying moment of my life. She had called her affair meaningless, but in the end, it was her actions that rendered her life hollow. As for me, I'd found meaning in starting over, stronger and wiser than before.